Donnie Judge.
Here.
Roy C. Brooks, Commissioner Precinct 1.
Present.
Marty Van Ravensway, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Gary Fickus, Commissioner Precinct 3. J.D. Johnson, Commissioner Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation today will be delivered by Dr. Joel McCoy, Tarrant Baptist Association. Dr. McCoy, we appreciate you coming out. After the invocation, please remain standing for our pledges.
Father, thank you for this opportunity to do business today. Pray that you'll guide everything that's done, that you'll give wisdom to these commissioners and the judge and to everybody in this room. Pray that you'll guide everything that's done for your honor and your glory. For we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Dr. McCoy, again, thank you very much for coming out today. I would like to give everybody kind of an update. I had a conversation with Commissioner Fickus yesterday. He has been released and has now gone home, so he's doing very well. Now I think the challenge is going to be basically for Kathy to keep him home and to keep people away from him so that for the next at least probably 6 weeks he needs to be at home with no visitors and with very little activity, because the last thing in the world we want is for him to catch anything. I know I was talking with him yesterday and he said, oh, probably in about 2 or 3 weeks, and he's watching this streaming video right now, so hopefully Kathy's watching it too. But in fact, that may be him calling me. He said, oh, in probably 2 or 3 weeks I'll be able to see folks. And what I said to him is, with the flu and everything else that's going around, Kathy ought to take a 2-by-4 to you if you even think about opening that door for anyone. So again, he is sounding very well, and at the same time, as I said, he's going to be quite a challenge to Kathy. We're all very anxious for him to get back, but at the same time, we want him to take his time and be very diligent about remaining healthy and staying away from anybody that that might be carrying the flu or anything else at this point in time. So it was good to talk with him. He's anxious, and I think unfortunately he's going to be burning the road down, or having people burn the road down between the house and the sub courthouse or the garage for the next probably several months. And so, but it's real exciting news, and I know they're glad.
One of the things that you inherited with that chair is the position of head cheerleader for the Commissioner's Court. How about a high Gary?
All right, we'll do this. I'm not near as good as my predecessor at cheerleading, but we will say, we'll go 1, 2, 3, and then hi Gary. 1, 2, 3. Hi Gary. So again, we're very excited, and we're very much looking forward to his return, and we're just very glad that things worked out. They told me that he really, Carolyn was saying this morning, that he knew he was home when he sat down in his easy chair, had his remote control in one hand, and he was ready to watch that TV. So I said, that's a man thing, and I can relate. So everything is right with the world. Mr. Manius, you, I'm sure, have several announcements this morning.
Your Honor, members of the court, I have 5 announcements for you this morning. Okay, under the administrator section, item A2, we have a revised court communication that is in your red folder. When we get to that particular item, Ms. McMillan will identify the changes in that. Also, members of the court, under human resources, item E3, this is the organizational changes in IT. Those are going to be considered after closed session today. Also, under K2,
which is the county judge and commissioners. This is an interlocal agreement in Precinct 2. There's one slight revision that was made as it relates to the interlocal agreement between Tarrant County and the City of Arlington. It simply indicates that a map has been attached to that document. The other two announcements are that we do not have Commissioners Court next week. And finally, Your Honor, members of the court, we do have Commissioners Court tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. We're in a work session as it relates to the AE and the CMs related to the medical examiner's office.
Will that be in here?
It will be in here.
And are we set up to stream that video?
Probably so. We'll make sure that we do that.
Again, before I get the phone call from Commissioner Fickus, if we could do that, that would be.
And that's one reason why we need to bring those work sessions in here, because we have that capability in this room, but we don't have it in 504 yet. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Court members, you have before you the minutes of our February 19th meeting.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. We have 3 proclamations or resolutions this week. Our first, Commissioner Brooks.
Yes, Your Honor, we have a proclamation honoring America Saves Week. Would you please read it into the record?
So we streamed.
Whereas American Saves is a nationwide campaign in which a broad coalition of nonprofit, corporate, and government groups encourages individuals and families to save and build wealth, and whereas American Saves Week helps call attention to the serious need our country has to teach individuals to save, and whereas the lack of savings by Americans is a major issue in our current economic situation, and whereas the campaign goal is to convince all Americans that they can build wealth that will assist them in reaching their goals through education, and whereas to this end, American Saves Week is partnering with financial institutions and educational organizations to offer motivational workshops, posters, brochures, and other resources to encourage citizens to take financial action through savings, debt reduction, and wealth building. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby proclaim the week of February 24th through March the 2nd, 2008, as American Saves Week in Tarrant County, and encourage all citizens to work to make good financial decisions in the coming year. In witness whereof, we have heretofore set our hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 26th day of February, 2008.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
We have Vicki Malden, the Director of First Command Educational Foundation. Vicki, if you would meet me at the podium.
Thank you, Commissioner Brooks, Your Honor, fellow commissioners. Good morning. I'm Vicki Malden, Executive Director of First Command Educational Foundation, a Fort Worth public charity dedicated to fostering financial literacy and distributing scholarships. In the last 15 years, personal savings in the United States has dropped from 11% to a shocking -1%. Our nation is jeopardizing its financial future with bad financial decisions. The consequences of these poor financial decisions, or what we call financial illiteracy, result in failure to save for emergencies or delaying savings until midlife or later, and can directly and permanently affect a family's standard of living. Unfortunately, the impact of financial illiteracy extends far beyond individual well-being. When financial illiteracy is persuasive, the national economy is also compromised. It is the mission of First Command Educational Foundation to enhance financial literacy both here in Tarrant County and across the nation. For that endeavor, we are calling attention to America Saves Week to begin a new wave of successful saving through education. We encourage Tarrant County residents to call on us during America Saves Week and in the future to help bring financial literacy to our community, to our youth, to our churches, and our civic groups, and our community resources. If we can help others realize how a lack of savings is jeopardizing our nation's financial future, then they can take action to help correct this downward spiral. We deeply appreciate the proclamation from the Commissioner's Court to help us call attention to this vital issue facing our nation. Thank you very much.
We thank you. Again, I guess I was listening to the radio this morning, and they were talking about another 200,000 foreclosures, new foreclosures. I think this is very appropriate at this time, and certainly I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank
Well
you, Commissioner
stated,
Brooks.
Victor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have a congratulatory resolution. Commissioner Van Ravensway.
Yes, I'm very happy to present this proclamation or resolution today, congratulating Arlington Memorial Hospital for its 50th year. Dreams of many Arlingtonites back in 1958 became reality when Arlington Memorial opened with 70 beds and I believe 80 employees. Now they have over 2,080 employees. So I think this information and probably more is in the resolution, and I would ask you to read it into the record, please.
Okay. Whereas Arlington Memorial Hospital's opening in 1958 brought a long-awaited dream to local quality health care and of local quality health care to fruition, and whereas the community worked together to fund the creation of Arlington Memorial Hospital, including support from the family of former Tarrant County Judge Tom Vandergriff and a generous donation from General Motors, and whereas Arlington Memorial Hospital has grown with the community, expanding from its original 75 beds and 80 employees to a 417-bed facility with 2,087 on staff, including more than 750 nurses. And whereas Arlington Memorial Hospital proudly serves the citizens of Arlington, Mansfield, Grand Prairie, and the surrounding area, and whereas Arlington Memorial Hospital continues to focus on the future of health care, as demonstrated by the opening of the $76 million Tom Vandergriff Surgical Tower and the expansion of its emergency department. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby congratulate Arlington Memorial Hospital on the occasion of its 50th anniversary, in witness whereof we have heretofore set our hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 26th day of February 2008.
Move for approval.
Second. A motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And if I could ask Kurt King and Anna Ream to come forward. Kurt King is the president of Arlington Memorial, and he will accept the plaque. I'm going to ask you, please take that down.
Well, could I do? Let me do that because I know these folks, and Kurt King had been at the Harris HEB facility where my wife works, and Kurt is a graduate of Alabama, and so he and I had this little thing going back and forth, and so I just chose today to go ahead and wear my LSU tie, just kind of rub it into him a little bit this morning. So y'all come on up here and.
And I apologize for not going down the steps. I don't do steps yet with my repaired Achilles tendon.
That's quite all right, and we can help you with that at Arlington Memorial Hospital in the future if you'd like. Commissioner Van Ravensway, Your Honor, and fellow commissioners, we are truly honored to accept this proclamation, and on behalf of our Board of Trustees, the Arlington community, our employees, and our physicians, we truly appreciate your support and your recognition for our 50th anniversary. We welcome not only you, but everyone in this room to our 50th anniversary celebration this Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. So please join us for food, fun, and fellowship. And finally, can I give a shout out to Gary Pickus.
You got it.
Gary, hope you get well, miss you, and look forward to your return. But thank you all for what you do for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Fickus is on the board at Harris HEB, which is where, again, Kirk had been prior to coming to Arlington Memorial. In the last proclamation, Commissioner Johnson.
Yes, it's Tarrant County Junior Livestock Shows Day, and before I ask you to read it into the record, let me remind you that some of you in this room have not made your contribution to the stock show this year, and I will not make those names available until a later time, but I do expect
Like
some
5
action
minutes
to
from
take
now?
place today. After the fact would really be horrible if I have to announce that, GK. If you would read that into the record, please.
Whereas the Tarrant County Junior Livestock Show was established in 1950 and is currently celebrating over 5 decades of serving youth, and whereas the Tarrant County Junior Livestock Show supports the FFA and 4-H program goals of positive youth development by implementing quality programming designed to meet the needs of today's youth and providing opportunities for personal growth and leadership, and whereas youth participating in these programs develop valuable life skills and positive character traits such as responsibility, trustworthiness, caring, and diligence as they work in their chosen project areas, and whereas the 894 entries and the 392 exhibits from throughout Tarrant County in this year's show, the Tarrant County Junior Livestock Show continues to provide an opportunity for FFA and 4-H youth an opportunity to exhibit their projects in a supportive arena of friendly competition. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby proclaim March 6th, 7th, and 8th, 2008 as Tarrant County Junior Livestock Show Days in Tarrant County. In witness whereof, we have heretofore set our hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 26th day of February 2008.
I'll move for its approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And we have Dr. Joan Jacobson, Executive Director of AgriLife. You notice we have a change in name now. And Lauren Kirshner, 4-H Youth Representative, to receive this proclamation. Nice to have you here. John, always a pleasure. Let me present this to you. Y'all make any comments?
Turn around,
Turn
Commissioner.
around.
You know, Joan could work here as an LSU.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. We appreciate your support in this exciting event. It has almost 400 youth from across Tarrant County participating next weekend, so we're very excited. I'd like to, if I may, introduce some of our guests that are with us today. We have Cindy Bryant, who's our county extension agent for 4-H, and Mary Kirshner and Jim McCullough, who are with our 4-H Adult Leaders program and the people that make it really happen. And Lauren, one of our star 4-H ambassadors, has a few words.
On behalf of all Tarrant County 4-H and FFA members, I would like to thank Commissioner Johnson and the other commissioners for their support and encouragement. Your support has helped me and the other Tarrant County Junior Livestock Show participants produce successful projects and reach our goals. We are proud of our projects and the accomplishments we have made and greatly appreciate your investment in us. Once again, thank you for your generosity.
Thank you.
Lauren, what is your project?
I raise rabbits.
Great.
The long-eared ones or
The short ears one.
the big bunnies?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And let me again just say, I appreciate very much y'all coming today, but I really want to again recognize Commissioner Johnson for his diligence in making sure that this project happens and making sure that there are lots of funds there to help purchase and to make sure that everybody receive something for the work and for the dedication that they do. I've been around here, this I guess is going on my 12th year, and I know you have been working on that far in excess of that, but every year you have come and you've talked with us, and your support is without question one of the reasons why this continues to be a successful program.
Thank you. Everyone just remember, March 8th, 1 o'clock is sale time. Swine Barn at out at the Will Rogers Coliseum. So
We'd love to see you out there.
come on out and join us. We have a lot of fun out there that day.
And I have already made my contribution.
Yes, he is.
Thank y'all. Thank you again very much. Good luck. Good luck. Board members, you have before you the consent agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Manius.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the court, we have two other items to bring to you this morning. The first, we are requesting that the Commissioners Court approve a memorandum of oil and gas lease and agreement with Chesapeake Exploration as it relates to the lease of oil and mineral rights under county-owned property. It's 35.3 acres. I will tell you that there's 17 different parcels in that 35 acres. It's not all contiguous. We did go out on competitive bid. We are getting a signing bonus of $6,220 per acre, which is $219,597.10 plus a 25% royalty payment.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Just a note on that, we now have brought to you 6 different contracts. We have 3 more that are coming probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks. I think you'll be very pleased with some of the agreements that we're going to be bringing to you in the near future. Your Honor, members of the court, on item number 2, I'm going to ask Ms. McMillan to come and address the court at this time.
Judge, Commissioners, we have before you today an approval of the participation of the City of Mansfield Tax Increment Financing Reinvestment Zone Number 1, the Reserve TIF. The City of Mansfield originally came to make their presentation to the court in December of 2006, and because it's been a little bit of time, I want to do a brief overview of the project and the terms of the agreement. City of Mansfield established a 3,100-acre tax increment reinvestment zone in the southeastern portion of the county. Half of the area is located in Tarrant County, with the remainder being in Johnson and Ellis counties. The majority of this land area remains undeveloped and without infrastructure improvements. This was a means for the TIF to be developed. It became apparent when through negotiations that Johnson County was going to choose not to participate, and they have actually let Mansfield know that they were not going to participate in this TIF. So Mansfield did revise the project and financing plan last fall. As proposed now, the funding through the TIF zone will pay for approximately $147 million in public improvements and infrastructure to spur development in this area. These include roadway improvements, water, sewer, and drainage facilities, and local parks, a mass transit facility, and various municipal service facilities. These improvements are expected to facilitate the private development of high-end mixed-use residential, retail, commercial, and office development valued at over $2.7 billion over the next 30 years, over $1.7 billion of which is located in Tarrant County. The City of Mansfield has requested Tarrant County to participate in funding at 30% of the tax increment generated within the TIF zone. The funds will be limited to funding of only those projects located within the Tarrant County boundaries and up to a maximum of our share of $78,772,582 in Tarrant County-related project costs. The county will not participate in funding for parks, public art, educational and municipal facilities, and that's set forth in the agreement. The agreement caps our participation at $22,950,000 over that 25-year period. During that 25-year period, we will essentially generate revenues off of that increment of in excess of $87 million. The city of Mansfield will be contributing at a rate of 65% of their tax increment for a period of 30 years. We're participating for 25, they will participate for 30. Because of the amount of retail development is really unknown at this time and is not expected to be a substantial generator of sales tax, Mansfield is not including that in the TIF district. However, it's offset by only asking our participation at the 30% rate, where they're participating at 65%. Ellis County has approved participation at the same 30% rate for the 25 years. And as I mentioned before, Johnson County has declined to participate. We are asking you today to consider approval of the attached resolution and participation agreement providing for the county's participation in the City of Mansfield Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Number 1, the Reserve TIF, through the payment into the zone's tax increment fund of certain tax revenues produced by the incremental property values within the TIF zone as set forth in the attached agreement.
Lisa, you might mention also about the hospital district.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. The hospital district is not being asked to participate in this TIF.
Why did Johnson County decline to participate in this, do you know?
I could let Mansfield address it, but as I recall, the area, as you can tell right there, that is in Johnson County, it is going to be a major, mainly residential development with some mixed-use office, retail, and they just felt that it was going to actually come and be developed at some point anyway, so they didn't think that the need to participate. However, I think it's a South Point development, what the developer is planning was really a nice high-end use, and to make it to that level, they really feel that the TIF increment is going to be needed. I don't know how Mansfield is going to offset the loss of that TIF increment from Johnson County.
But I think it was primarily that it was residential, and they felt like the infrastructure within the residential was something that the developer should be doing, and that most of the commercial part of that property was
located in Tarrant County.
Was located in Tarrant County. Was there? I talked with their judge, Roger Harmon, about that, and that was kind of his sense of what the court.
But again, that's one of the reasons why we made it clear in the agreement that our portion is only going to be used for Tarrant County related projects.
And 65% of the entire development is within Tarrant County?
Yes.
Right now we need to go ahead and approve the communication, or the resolution rather?
We have a resolution and the agreement that we're asking for you to approve.
Well, do you want separate motion? No, one motion, all right. I will move approval of the resolution and the agreements, including the exhibits for the TIF number 1 in Mansfield.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Tidwell?
This morning, we're requesting that the Commissioners Court receive and file the Tarrant County financial statements for the 3 months ended December 31st, 2007. We're finishing, or have finished pretty much the audit, and are working on the financial statements, the CAFR for the county for the period ended 9/30, and now we're trying to get caught back up with our monthly report, and so this is the first quarter.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further questions or discussion? Please vote.
Thank you.
Motion passes unanimously. Ms. Snyder?
First item is the request for approval and execution of a property damage release to Colony Insurance Company. They are paying us money for damages that were done in the Plaza building.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
The Risk Management Board is also recommending the payment of 4 claims to Deborah Crackey and Telco Credit Union, C. Pearson Plumbing, Penny Frazier, and AT&T.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Wright.
Regarding the second item under the DA's office, we're requesting authorization for the county auditor to cash the check in the amount of $2,034.48, representing full recovery of our lien.
Move approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Ms. Glenn? Nope. Ms. Worthy? She's just down there occupying a chair. Oh, she's not even there today.
No, she's there. She's there. Our first item is that we request that you
Well, I
receive.
can't see her from over here. I mean, there you go.
There.
Now I know she's there.
We're requesting that you receive and file the personnel agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to receive and file personnel agenda. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Our second item is the approval of the letter of agreement with the Hay Group. As you all know, annually, the Hay Group conducts a compensation study for us and provides us recommendations for our salary structure increases and our merit increases for the following fiscal year. In addition to that, this year, they will be doing a benefit survey for us and providing us information on comparison of our benefits to other organizations. And the cost is not to exceed for both projects $100,000. This was approved in the fiscal year 2008 budget.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Okay, remind me how, I know that we had this committee that we appointed, I believe, with regards to the sheriff's department.
Yes, sir.
We have a meeting Friday afternoon on that.
Okay.
It's coming Friday.
And how is that going to fit in with, or what is Hay's participation going to be, either one with that committee, or how is that committee going to fit in with what Hay is doing?
Well, what
Or if at all?
what I anticipate is that initially we'll meet with them and gather information from them as to what their request might be for the upcoming fiscal year based on the studies that they have done separately from the Hay or the Hay study, and work with them to make a presentation to you all, probably not as part of the Hay study, but then, we can certainly compare it to what the Hay recommendations are. Since this is our first time to do this, I'm not exactly sure how to...
That's not quite what I think this court had in mind.
Okay, maybe we misunderstood.
I think we wanted you to look more at the structure rather than to try to negotiate a deal for next year. We want you to look at the law enforcement structure and determine its strengths and weaknesses and how the structure itself might need to be changed in order to facilitate more fairness in the way law enforcement is compensated.
Well, certainly we've done that in the past with Hay, and truly the numbers that Hay has provided us have not been significantly different than the numbers that their organization has provided as far as how far we are behind market. But their requests for what we do with this structure adjustment typically are less conservative than what Hay has done.
I'm not talking about structure adjustments. I'm talking about the system, the structure
The pay structure.
itself.
And that's part of what they have made requests about that we will be looking at.
Well, that's part of it, Commissioner Brooks, but I believe, and I'm not trying to put words in the judge's mouth, but I believe that he told that group that we would get together and look at all of their requests. They've got some other requests besides salary in there. And once again, this committee, it's not my intention for this committee to negotiate anything with them. It's just to get the facts and to give them some facts about some of the requests they're making, and then present that back to the court to have the opportunity, if we want to wrap this into the Hay study, then that's what we will do.
And I agree with what you're saying, Commissioner Johnson. My thought was, I don't think our system is broke. I think we've got a good system. I think it may need to be tweaked in certain areas, but I'm not sure that, that it is. It may very well be just the system we want, but I think, as you said, each year they make certain requests, and I haven't felt like that those requests have been made in in a manner that we've really been able to give them the thought and gone through that process. It doesn't mean we're going to change anything at all, but I mean, certainly, I think what we're doing is just trying to get an early start on that and hopefully be able to address their concerns, make the comparisons, see whether or not, you know, whether they have validity in that or not. But
I think if we go back a few years, you'll look at each year, their requests don't come through the sheriff to this court. They don't come to us in advance. They come up here during the budget sessions and throw their request out to us, and that's part of our fault because we haven't educated them on our process. But I think this is going to get us a step ahead, where maybe we can lay this stuff out and they'll have a little better knowledge of why we consider or don't consider some of the items on their list.
I think there are some problems with the structure. When we have a step system and we start somebody not at step A, but at step K or L or wherever we start them,
we don't go
and
quite
they
that
max
far.
out as a result of that very quickly, then there are problems with the structure that need to be addressed before we start addressing these other issues of who wants what.
Well, it seems like that every year when we do try to at least make some accommodation to their request, we're looking at making adjustments within the steps. And maybe our steps are out of order, or maybe there's not the appropriate entire look at them. We may have fixed it over here for the K's, but we didn't fix it for the B's, and I'm just making those up because I don't have any idea how it really works with the alphabet. But I'm not so sure that I'm clear on understanding what it is we have that's broken. And I'm not sure it is broken, but I would like to have the meeting with the people that you're going to be talking with and see if it's perhaps more a lack of understanding of how it works and why their requests aren't coming in and just being accepted and we go forward.
I don't know what step we're starting them out now. Is it C? D?
It's step C for all positions with the exception of the jailers. They do start at E.
Okay.
At what?
What
At
happened
E?
to A and B?
Well, that's part of the problem. A and B is below the normal hiring rate. And like Commissioner Brooks just said, our system may not be broke, but it's bent. And it
A
needs
needs
some
to be
tweaking.
C.
Well, and that goes back, I think, to the fact that, remember, we have a minimum, and then we hire in at 10% above minimum. And so that's, I think A and B are below that 10% above minimum, and that's why they end up at C or E, and then we only go as far as K. And so what happens is, again, it's a matter of how long are you going to spread for someone to spend before they max out. And then once, the further you spread it, again, that maximum over here has effect on the next place that they go above. And so our law enforcement folks, any way you cut it, have received a higher increase than our other employees for as long as I can remember. And that doesn't mean that that again, there's not some tweaking that needs to occur, because it is kind of confusing when you tell somebody you're starting out at E and you got A through D that for all intents and purposes are worthless.
Well, it's very similar to our.
Excuse me. Everything you've just said is true. The law enforcement personnel has been compensated at a greater rate than the employee population at large. But we set up the STEP system in the first place to provide a career path so that they could get orderly adjustments as they went through their career with the Sheriff's Department. By starting them 2/3 of the way through the STEP system, then we've negated the career path. Their career path stops in 3 or 4 years.
And they just
Well, we need to look at whether or not we should adjust those steps.
And that's
I
not
understand
any different than what we did by eliminating one of our mechanic numbers,
Yeah, one of our,
because it was below what they start at. And so we just eliminated it and moved everybody up.
From operator one to
numerically.
operator
Yeah.
two.
and that's true, but I mean, the one thing you've got to be careful of is again, it all works out and it moves up. Unless we're willing to put a significant amount of dollars in there to raise everybody up, then what we've done at that bottom rung on the ladder for the jailers is we have, instead of taking them from where they're hired in to the max in 4 years, we could hire them in and take them there in 8 years, but that's going to mean less pay for them over the long run. We need to look at it. And that's what I think, that's the whole purpose that we're debating and we're talking about right now. But our system in the past, I think, has been one that gets them to a maxed out quicker, but the option of getting them there slower means less money to them in the earlier years. And I want to, I feel very good about the way we've done it. We just need, I think, again, and that's what you're saying, and that's what we're looking at, is we're going to look at tweaking the system or to see if there's another way to do it. And just as all of us have to be, we have to understand what the financial impact of that is. And so, that's what I hope will come out of the committee is recommendations that we put a financial impact on, and we understand how that relates. And I'm very appreciative of the job that the law enforcement folks do, and understand their sacrifices. But we've got employees throughout the county that are sacrificing every day, and we have to look at everybody at the same time that we're looking at law enforcement. And again, historically, for at least as long as I've been around this court, and I think even again before then, law enforcement has always received a higher share of the increase than the other.
I'm not sure what year we started the step raise for them. Do you remember?
It was before my
It was
time.
in the early 90s.
Yeah, we went
It
initially.
actually came on after I came on the course. I think it was 98 or 99.
We initially started with Hay in 93. I do not think we initially were there. Maybe 95? I can't remember. You think it was after you came
I
on?
think it was after 97.
Okay. I don't remember. I'd have to look.
Well, it's entirely
She's shaking her head no, and I will trust that. You're saying we went on?
That's 11 years ago.
It's entirely possible to move the bottom range of the steps to where we start people in actuality, and leave the top end where it is and divide up the steps in between. It's not a given that we need to add more money to this system in order to make it work.
But if we add more if right now, let's say we start at E and we go to K.
Just all I'm saying is leave every option on the table. And it's not a given that in order to adjust the steps, we've got to throw a whole bunch of new money in.
Well, I don't think it's that different from what we're doing with everybody else when we start compression, and we run into that every single year, that we have some area that's got a compression problem.
I think
And it is money.
I think we need to go back to what the judge said a while ago, though. If you do that, Roy, and we've thought about it, everybody on this court, I guess, has thought about it, but if you go back and you squeeze, or you spread those raises out from start to tops, and you back that starting pay up, add the 10% to step A, is what you're actually saying, and then divide the raises between, they're going to get smaller raises annually. And it's going to take them longer to get to the point to where
They maxed out.
I don't think that's going to make
You're going
anybody
to go
real
from
happy.
7 steps to 11 steps, and
but that's something that will be
There are
talked
always
about and looked at.
consequences.
Pardon me?
There are always consequences.
That's something we'll look at and talk to them about, but I don't think that's what they're asking for.
I don't either.
I do believe, though, that the charge to the committee, that you have plenty of room in that charge to discuss everything that you all talked about.
Well, that's all we're going to do is discuss. Let me assure you, we're not agreeing to anything.
and I feel
it
certain
is not.
that you can, if the charge needs to be expanded, that you'll expand it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we need to, have we voted on anything?
No, sir.
Need a vote.
We had a lot of discussion. We have a motion and a second, but we hadn't done any voting yet.
This on the Hague Group letter?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
There being no more discussion on this or any other item, we'll now vote. The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Mr. Turner. Mr. Turner, did I run him off? I guess I did.
Let's see what we got.
Mr. Manius is going to handle it.
Your Honor, members of the court, on item F1, we're requesting that the Commissioners Court approve the FY08 Family Drug Court contracts with Lena Pope Home and Tarrant County Challenge.
Move approval.
Second. Now, I'm sure we're going to have several questions about this. Any other discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Yeah, you go ahead and think about it. Ms. Brewer.
I'm still waiting on his contribution. I'm assuming if I'm nice to him, it'll be loyal.
Good morning.
We have 4 items for your approval this morning. The first one is a professional services contract with Catherine A. Colquitt, M.D., for physician consultant services.
Move approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
The second item is to submit an application and letter of support to the National Association of County and City Health Officials for an accreditation preparation and quality improvement demonstration site project, and that's for the amount of $15,000.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
The third item is to submit a grant application to the Texas Department of State Health Services for a community obesity prevention project, and that's for the full amount of $50,000.
Oh, yes, Lord. Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And our last item is a professional services contract with TMF Health Quality Institute to provide quality management training for HIV subcontracting service providers, and this amount is $3,660.
I move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lamb.
Thank you,
We
Judge.
get out of here without any purchasing today? Was Jack on vacation?
Yeah?
Threw me off, too. I'm here today to request that Commissioners Court approve the resolution order authorizing conveyance of a permanent gas pipeline easement to Texas Midstream Gas Services. It's across property that the county originally purchased for highway purposes, but no roads were ever built there. It's in the general vicinity of 183 and Diplomacy Drive south of DFW Airport.
And what?
I'm sorry?
183 and what?
And Diplomacy Drive south of the airport. Yes, ma'am.
363.
Yes.
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
All right. Which one is
Okay, we have some interlocal agreements. Commissioner Brooks.
Mr. Wright, are we good? All right, I move approval of item
8K1, A and B.
8K1A and B.
We have a motion to approve item 8K 1A and B. Any discussion? We didn't get a second on that, did we?
Second.
Okay. Now we have a motion and a second.
That's the only time when having a paper agenda is better.
No,
Please vote.
all the time is better.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, I move approval for item 8K2, A and B.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
I'll move approval of item 8K3, A, B, C, and D.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
I'm assuming all those were approved. Okay.
Any appointments? None appearing, then we will move on to the claims, including the addendum.
Move approval of the claims, including the addendum.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims, including the addendum. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Briefing items, Mr. Manius.
Your Honor, just to remind you and the court that tomorrow morning we do have a special call meeting. It begins at 9 o'clock in the courtroom as it relates to the medical examiner's office to review requests for qualifications for A&E and also construction management relating, as I said, relating to the medical examiner's facility. That's all we have this morning, Your Honor.
Any other comments? Okay, we will now recess the open session and proceed to closed session to discuss items exempted under sections 551071, 072, 074, 076, and 087 of the Texas Government Code. We are? Okay.
Your Honor, we have one action item we'd like to bring to the court. This, since closed session, it's under HR. It is item E3. Ms. Worthy is here to address the court this time.
We are requesting that you approve the organizational changes for information technology.
Move approval.
Second.
Got a motion to second. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we have an audience participation form. Again, if you'll come forward at this point in time, I'm not even going to attempt if I try to pronounce the last name, we'll both be in trouble. But if you'll go ahead and state your name and your address for the record.
Oh, well, and I apologize for my voice. It's Pam Kammerdienner. It's Kammerdienner, 1148 North Highview, Hybiew Drive in Mansfield, 76063. Yes, I came again on audience participation in November of '07 and was referred to city manager and Ms. Brewer and David Jefferson to deal with some concerns I had about the residential septic system on my property. At the time I was told, maybe by you, that if we couldn't come to some mutual resolution, then I should attempt to come back and get on the agenda. Some progress was made, but I still have major concerns. And I just am coming here today to ask to be put on an agenda at some point in the future so we can discuss those.
Okay. It's my understanding I did, after our regular session, I went ahead and talked to Mr. Mays. It's my understanding that he plans on putting the item on the agenda on March 11th.
Okay.
That's probably about all I can say at this point.
Okay.
Without getting in trouble.
Oh, that's fine. I was not aware of that. That's fine.
So we will put that on the agenda for our March 11th.
Okay. I appreciate it. So I just come back and...
10
okay.
a.m.
I beg your pardon?
10 a.m.
10 a.m. Okay,
And
thank
what
you.
we'll do is go ahead and on that day, if you will, you'll fill out audience participation. Then at the point in time that we come to that item on the agenda, you'll be given an opportunity to make any comments that you would like to make, as well as whatever comments to be made by Mr. Jefferson.
Okay. May I ask, is that also a time to present, like, documents, pictures, anything?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And I will say that to the extent that you could present that or turn that in prior,
Sure.
then we can get it into the agenda and make it a part of the official record.
Okay.
So preferably, if you're going to present something, if you could have it to us maybe by March 4th,
Okay.
then that will allow us time to get it into the record for our March 11th meeting.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
very
See you
much.
then.
Is there anything else at this time?
Not at this time, Your Honor. Yes,
You get to feeling better soon.
that'd be fine.